Business Solutions, welcoming you to today's webinar on lift and shift workloads to Oracle Cloud. We've got a lot of interest in this webinar and a lot of registration, so we're going to give a few more minutes for people to trickle in. You'll be placed on mute during the presentation, and you could submit your questions via chat window, or we will open up periodically for questions. So we'll start in a few minutes. Thank you all for coming. So as people come in, I just want to talk a little bit about the image that all of you see on the window on the screen. And this is a kind of new message that we're trying out. We'll talk about it a little bit when the webinar starts. But the idea is that, we're usually focused on things like move and improve when we're talking about going to the cloud, but there's a whole other set of aspect to it where you have to assess and plan and plot out your strategy, then move and improve, and then you need to manage the network, your presence in the cloud and your applications that are running. So that's an area that we think is increasingly important in a cloud environment where you don't have a dedicated internal network. You're basically putting together a set of services that are available over the internet. And so that expertise that could help you scale is a key part of managing all of that. And then there are elements that we listed inside the cloud that are important aspects along with your PeopleSoft or EBS or JD Edwards application. So we wanted to kind of encapsulate some of our thinking. This is going to be at our booth as a backdrop at Alliance at the end of this month. So if any of you folks are coming to Alliance, come check us out at booth 538. Okay, so we're past the top of the hour, and I want to welcome everyone again for the Lift and Shift Workloads to Oracle Cloud webinar. This is going to be an interesting take, we think, on current trends happening in the cloud, happening with applications. And I have with me the co-founder and CEO and CTO of Astute Business Solutions, Arvind Rajan. Hello, good morning, Arvind.
Good morning, Phil.
Great, thanks for making the time to do this. We've been talking about this webinar for a long time and promoting it and sending out emails and gotten a lot of interest. As people kind of trickle in, if maybe you can kind of just introduce yourself and then say what's your motivation for giving a webinar like this? What should people expect out of it? And then I'll let you just go ahead and start your presentation.
Of course, certainly. So welcome, everybody. My name is Arvind Rajan. I'm co-founder and CEO of Astute Business Solutions. I wear many hats at Astute. I am at the core a technologist and also a cloud evangelist, as I find myself doing more and more of these kinds of webinars and events and having conversations with customers about why cloud is so important. One of the things that always surprises me is that every time we do an event like this, the registrations go up, the number of attendees participating go up, the Q&A level increases, and all of that is exciting for us because we see that the customer base, especially the Oracle customer base whom we have invited today, are taking interest in cloud and are also starting to make some moves towards cloud. So exciting to have this conversation with all of you. Let me get started and talk about what our main topic is. So we're going to talk about how you can move and improve workloads to cloud. When we talk about workloads, it can be applications, they can be databases, infrastructure workloads, backups, all of those kinds of things are incorporated when we say workloads. And to start off, I want to give you a brief introduction of Astute Business Solutions, and then we'll talk more about what cloud has to offer and how you can take advantage of it. So We've been in business for a number of years, but the perspective that I want to share with all of you today is a unique one because we are both a cloud implementer as well as a cloud customer. And having been an implementer, obviously we understand how customers work, what their pain points are, how we have to adapt to various situations to give them the solutions they need, and how to be successful in that space. But being a customer allows us to first try out a lot of these cloud solutions and products that we in turn package and sell to our customers. And we also find out how these things work, where there may be some pitfalls or challenges, and provide that experience and learning also to our customers. So that has been extremely helpful. In terms of our company, we provide cloud advisory services, so helping customers understand how they should go to cloud, what should be a good integrated strategy for that, and what is that roadmap for cloud? Where do you start? Where do you go next? Do you need a POC? Do you have a reference architecture? All of that good stuff comes with our advisory services. Then come migration services. So once you have a solid strategy and plan in place, and once you've prioritized what workloads can be moved to cloud, we can come in and help you move those workloads to cloud. Now, we do this for multiple applications in the Oracle suite. So PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, EBS, Hyperion, OBIEE, and we use a variety of tools to do this. So the application product development teams like PeopleSoft, EBS, and JDE, each of them have developed their cloud automation tools for migrating and for deployment. And then there are other tools like Revelo in the Oracle portfolio that help you migrate entire VMs to cloud if you want to do that. Implementing on cloud is another area where customers are showing a lot of interest. So in addition to moving your existing application workloads to cloud, like a PeopleSoft 9.2 application or a 9.1 application, whatever you may have on-prem today, or it may be in a hosted environment, a lot of customers are also looking to build cloud-native applications to extend their cloud applications using cloud integration solutions and so on. So implementation services for that is another area of expertise for us. And then lastly, managed services. Oftentimes customers, when they see cloud and they understand the value proposition, one of the most important questions that comes up is who's going to manage all this on cloud? Is that automatically taken care of, or do I need to retrain my resources? And our approach there is let us take care of the run, maintain of your workloads on cloud so that you can then focus on more business value added things. Right? So now why Astute? Why not anybody else? Good question, and here is our answer for that. We have many, many years of deep expertise in on-prem applications, Oracle PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, EBS, and so on. And combined with that, 5 years of cloud infrastructure and platform experience. We started our journey with AWS, and now for the last 2 years, we have been working on Oracle Cloud as well. Our resources are cloud trained and certified, so not only do we have the apps expertise and experience for on-prem implementations, we have done implementations, upgrades, global support, all of those kinds of things that are associated with a traditional on-prem implementation. But now many of the same resources are also cloud trained and certified in some of the latest cloud technologies that you will hear of, including Exadata Cloud Service and Bare Metal Cloud. Cloud automation, cloud is not just about taking a bunch of servers and moving that on cloud. That is one way to do it, but that is not the recommended way of doing it. You have to, along the way, take advantage of all the tools and capabilities that cloud providers give you and automate that process, not just the first time lift and shift, but also subsequent deployments, teardowns, and keep going along on that journey to optimize cloud solutions. And then support and qualification. So we have an extensive team of resources who are certified who can support you through that entire process. And they also are developing tools and methodologies to make you successful. So in terms of cloud solutions, move and improve is the first thing that we're going to talk about, and that's the focus of our webinar today. But for those of you who are interested in extending your on-prem applications or other cloud applications using tools like Integration Cloud or Process Cloud or backups to cloud, monitoring using Oracle Management Cloud. Those are some of our core services as well. I spoke about managed services briefly, and this gives you some more detail. And then we also specialize in implementing disaster recovery solutions on cloud. A brief slide about our experience. I'm going to come back to this a little later in the presentation today when I present some detailed case studies, but here's a good sampling of projects that we've taken on recently. Some of them are production migrations to cloud. Others are extensions of on-prem network to cloud, where customers have used cloud as an extension of their network to take on an upgrade project, for example. We ourselves migrated all of our PeopleSoft application instances from AWS to Oracle Cloud. There's a healthcare customer in there. There's a university in South America that was the first production customer on OCI, Oracle's Gen 2 infrastructure platform. So lots of good examples and lots of experiences, lots of learning from all of this that we want to share with you today and provide links for you to browse through later on after today's webinar is concluded. So one of the things that we want to talk about, which I think is extremely important for customers to understand, is cloud is not a one-and-done type event. It is indeed a journey with many destinations. And if that is something the customers can understand and grasp, then I think your overall approach to cloud can be realistic, pragmatic, and you can be very successful. So don't be under the impression that you have to boil the ocean and understand everything about cloud and figure out how to move your entire data center to cloud. That is not the case, and very few, if none, of customers that we've worked with have done that. Even if you do decide to move the bulk of your data center to cloud, you're not going to do it all at once. You're going to do it in steps. So how do you make the business case for cloud, right? So I was thinking this morning that if I wanted investment advice and which stocks to buy and how long to hold them, I'd probably Google, the Oracle of Omaha and Mr. Buffett and his famous predictions and follow his intuition and his experience, right? But if I wanted to know what should I do with cloud, when should I go to cloud, how should I use cloud, whom should I talk to? So I said, let me rely on good old Google. But before I do that, I wanted to ask myself a couple of questions. So if I'm the customer, one of the first things that I would ask is the cloud ready for me, as in for my business, for my particular applications, and the specific rules and regulations that I operate under, is the cloud ready for me? Another way of asking that question would be, am I ready for the cloud? Because cloud is not new. It's been spoken about for a decade or more now. We know that companies like AWS have been trailblazing there, and they've been providing web services for a long time. We also know that a lot of large and small companies are already operating on cloud. So am I as a customer ready for cloud? Are you as a customer ready for cloud? So how do we find that out? There's a lot of good information online. You can get expert articles, analyst reviews, Gartners of the world, IDCs of the world, and you can ask questions like that. What is the forecast for cloud? Google, what do you think? Is it sunny? Is it bright? Is the outlook positive? Then you can probably think about what is the infrastructure market forecast like, right? What is everybody doing? Am I the only one thinking about moving my infrastructure to cloud? Is everybody moving? Or you may want to ask, should I move my infrastructure to cloud? And you'll get some interesting answers. Obviously, lots of opinions out there, and you may want to consider them or you may not. We think you should make up your own minds by going through a formal evaluation process. And then the last question is, how do I choose which public cloud provider to use? There are many options: AWS, Azure, Oracle, Google. Those are some of the top ones. There's IBM. So there's a lot of choice, but how do you decide which is the right one for you? So in today's webinar, we're going to focus on Oracle applications, and we're going to share with you some examples how Oracle applications run on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and why it works. But there are obviously many ways for you to find out. There are many avenues for you to research and make your decision. And while I was at it, I was Googling all this stuff. I was tempted because I'm a huge Warriors fan, so I also wanted to ask, will the Warriors win again? Right? We've been plagued by injuries recently, and so I couldn't resist. So I did look at that, but I didn't bother reading any of the articles. I'm faithful. So, Houston, we don't have a problem. All right, so what are some of the compelling decisions that, or compelling events that would drive your cloud decisions, right? And this is important because every customer has a trigger that takes them to cloud. For some, it is a hardware refresh issue, so you are coming up on a huge hardware refresh cycle. Maybe you are replacing tens or hundreds of servers and storage and network and whatnot, and you have to ask yourselves, do I really want to do that? Do I want to be in the business of managing more servers and replacing them and paying for warranties and maintenance services and asking my staff to tear down and build new equipment for me every few years? Or would you rather just deploy on cloud where you don't see the hardware at all, but you are consuming the services as and when you want them, and you're always assured that it's running on optimized hardware behind the scenes, right? So that's one compelling event. A lot of customers are looking at this and saying, do I want to spend millions procuring new hardware, or do I want to go to cloud where I just pay as I go and I can use it whenever I want it? The second thing that is top of mind for everybody is security. So in spite of the best efforts of companies in their on-prem data centers or the ones that are hosted, they find that they're always under attack. It does not mean that everybody has a security breach, but all of you know that you're constantly being targeted and attacked. What we're finding is that the large cloud providers have armies of people who can work on just one aspect, securing their cloud data centers. They are also heavily certified in the sense that they have SOC compliance, HIPAA compliance, they're working on FedRAMP, and all of these rules and regulations that you run your business by, all of these are already available. And then within the cloud data centers, if you look at solutions like database on cloud, databases are encrypted, both with data at rest and in motion. So all of those things give you higher levels of assurance, and these are all part of the service where you don't have to pay extra to get those certifications and those security assurances. So all of that said, you still control how you want security to work for your cloud infrastructure when you're ready to deploy it. Third thing is businesses need agility. They don't want to wait when they want something new. So they want to be able to implement something rapidly, spin up an instance, spin up a server, get some development tools, get some backups, whatever it is that the need of the hour is. They don't want to go and talk to IT and say, hey, do you have enough capacity for this? Can you do this? What is the lead time? And you come back with answers like, oh, I think I'll have to wait a couple of weeks, so let me now incorporate that lead time into my project plan. All of that goes away because cloud is truly on demand. You can create on demand, you can destroy on demand, and you can automate a lot of these things as you go along. New capabilities. Everybody wants new features. They want enhancements. They want mobile capabilities. They want chatbots and AI, and they want the latest that the business is always asking for. Give your business the edge. Do not have them wait on legacy applications that will take years to upgrade. Leverage cloud for that. And then some of our customers have told us recently that they have an aging workforce and those retirements are coming up, and it is going to be extremely challenging for them to find those sorts of skills where they would want to come in and work in an on-prem job opportunity to support an EBS or PeopleSoft application, or just be a regular systems engineer or network support engineer. All of these people are looking at how they can enhance their skill sets and become cloud-enabled. Right?
Yeah, Arvind, if I could jump in, if you go back to one slide. This is obviously very important as people not only figure out cloud, but where the organization is going or whatnot. So these problems are relevant to different parts of the organization, right? So some people, maybe the IT director may be worried about one thing and the CIO worried about another. Can you kind of quickly just say, what are the personas who should be thinking about what? So if you're a CIO, obviously you're just thinking about everything, but if you're an application administrator, you should be thinking about this compelling event.
Yeah, absolutely. For CIOs and all C-level executives, I think security is a top concern. So it's not just the IT organization that's impacted by it. The CFO, the CMO, all of the people involved who control and manage and support the business, they're all concerned about that. But agility really impacts the business, the way you operate, the back office applications that run your financials, your supply chain, your HR, your student applications. Agility is really needed in that space. Customers on-prem are working on 3 to 5 year cycles for upgrades. Although with the latest release of an application like PeopleSoft, you can be a little more agile, but it still does not take away the pains of having to apply the upgrade, test the upgrade, and so on. So you need agility and acceleration and faster time to market. And then in industries like higher education and public sector, we find that there is definitely the concern about an aging population where people are leaving, and it is hard to find qualified resources to come in and take those kinds of positions to backfill that, right? So now I think it's important, having learned that these are some of the compelling events. These are obviously not the complete set of events that you could encounter. But having seen that, you have to then think about how do you validate and define your success on cloud. It is not a third-party success. It's not what other customers have done before. Although you can get some level of assurance by seeing others having done that and been successful, you still have to understand what is in it for you. And the way to do that is to think about these things that define or can define your cloud success. So the first thing we want to talk about is business impact. Is cloud going to be able to give you a valid or tangible business impact? Are there mission-critical applications that can run better on cloud, that can scale faster on cloud, that can perform better on cloud? Are you in need of better service levels? Maybe your hosting partner or your internal IT teams are stretched too thin, and they're not able to deliver the service levels that you need to be competitive, to be agile, to be fast in the marketplace. Do you need higher performance? We talk to customers often about performance challenges and issues on-prem. Sometimes the problem is application related, sometimes it's database related, sometimes it's hardware related. At least on the infrastructure and database, which is platform service on cloud, you have the option to scale up and down very quickly. So you have that part of the problem that you can potentially solve, and you can buy excess capacity on demand whenever you need it for your peak workload without having to pay for that upfront. Security, we spoke about that at length just in the last slide. Security is becoming super important and paramount for all customers, especially in light of all these big breaches that you hear of. So is your system really hack-proof? I think about 8 out of 10 customers that we talk to in the on-prem world, they don't have databases encrypted today. They don't have database encryption at rest and when data is in motion. So those are some things to consider as outcomes of cloud, because cloud gives you that out of the box. Speed of deployment, you want more and more automation. Now, it's not to say that you don't have a team on-prem that can do that automation. Yes, you can script things all the way through to just click a button and deploy an instance, and many of our customers are doing that, right? So it's not to say that you cannot do it on-prem, but now cloud providers are standardizing that. So you are getting the benefit of a pre-built solution, but you're also getting the benefit of feedback and optimization that comes into those cloud solutions, which get refreshed every so often. So you don't have to take on the overhead of managing a custom automation solution. And then last but not least, you still have to think about cost. I mean, cost is the obvious one, of course, right? Everybody talks about lower TCO and ROI and things like that, but we think cost is just one driver, and that's not the only reason to validate success on cloud. So if you've gone through that process, then please think of cloud as a journey with many destinations, as I said in the beginning of my presentation. So the fact is that cloud has been proven to drive business innovation, DevOps agility, and hard cost savings, among many other things. This is not up for guessing. This is not a thing that's smoke and mirrors. This is all proven. There are hard savings that you can get out of cloud today, regardless of what your situation is. Yes, you may be running a private cloud on your own, and you may have built something that's custom fit to your business need, but it has been proven time and time again that public cloud delivers a lot more value than what customers have on-prem. So with that fact, now let's think about some important things that can help you decide what your journey is to cloud and what those destinations may look like. I think it's important to understand what your cloud journey looks like, right? So I'm showing you an example of a curvy path with a few stops along the way. Yours may be a straight shot and then maybe a hard right. I don't know. We'll have to go through that process with you to help you understand and prioritize and make those decisions. But it's important to understand what your cloud journey is. What are your destinations? As in, what do you start with? What do you go to next? Maybe storage is the first solution that you want. Maybe putting a development instance on cloud is the first thing you want. Maybe developing a mobile application on cloud is the first thing you want. So every customer could have a different need or a different starting point. If you understand that and if you want to have a good definition around that, we think you need a good cloud strategy. And we are proponents of what we call integrated cloud strategy, which means cloud is not a standalone piece. Most customers that we talk to are familiar with cloud. Many are already operating on cloud. So this is now we're talking about, can we move enterprise workloads to cloud? How does that integrate with your on-prem applications? Do you have a hybrid cloud strategy and so on? Lastly, do you have a trusted advisor, somebody that you can work with who can give you all those options and help you make all the right decisions? But the key takeaway from here is that this is not a one and done type event, that you will actually go through a journey. You will evolve as cloud providers evolve and mature in their offerings. So this is our mantra or formula for getting started. So there are 4 steps that we like to talk about. Plan, move, improve, and support, or plan, move, improve, and manage. The first step is assessing or going through the plan phase, assessing your current workloads on-prem, prioritizing the ones that are a good fit for cloud, because there may be some that you never want to move to cloud. Maybe for data privacy reasons, maybe for data residency reasons, maybe because it's a legacy application that's just going to sunset and you don't want to replace that. So identifying what those are and prioritizing them and developing a detailed plan to help you succeed with your cloud migration, I think that's the first step. Where we come in to help you with that is with our cloud advisory service. The next step would be to look at those prioritized workloads, execute on that plan, move those workloads to cloud. Let's say it's a PeopleSoft application or an EBS application or a JDE application. Move that to cloud and then stabilize it and then start operating it on cloud. If you're just moving one out of many applications, then you can assume that you're going to be in some form of hybrid cloud environment for the foreseeable future. That's where our cloud migration service comes into play. Improve, extend, and automate. Cloud is not just about dumping infrastructure there and forgetting about it. It is about taking advantage of all the tooling, the orchestration, and the scripting features. You can write infrastructure as code using things like Terraform, where you can just send a script to cloud and it'll create some infrastructure for you or modify your infrastructure or apply security policies. So all those kinds of automation tools you can take advantage of, or you want to standardize integration after you've moved your enterprise application to cloud. Use Integration Cloud or Process Cloud. A lot of customers we talk to, they have an ERP like PeopleSoft sitting on-prem, but they have a lot of manual processes, form-based processes surrounding that application. You can eliminate those by using Process Cloud. So Astute has cloud automation services to help you extend and connect those applications.
So I really want to kind of jump in here as well. This automation thing, everybody hears about automation, and that's the kind of promise. And you have now autonomous databases and things like that. But this automation really changes the nature of work for the administrator, whether you're administering the network or administering the applications. A lot of discrete activity where you set into motion automated systems and then you're doing something else while it's working in the background, as opposed to manually connecting to all the SCSI devices and typing in all the root names and path names and stuff. How does that change in terms of what people would do working in these environments, and then why a partner may be a good even if you're automating, you should outsource some of the automation activities to partners.
That's a great question, Fal. So I think there are many examples of how deploying an instance, deploying a VM, attaching storage, scheduling backups. There are many examples of how these things can take 10, 20, or 30 clicks for an on-prem environment, whereas cloud will do it in half or 1/3 or 1/5 the number of clicks. those are proven examples, and we can show you live demos of that. There are many YouTube videos by Oracle and other providers that can share that detail with you. So that is an example of how automation works, right? So if it takes you 20 steps to deploy a new PUM source image on-prem for PeopleSoft 9.2 when it's available, Cloud Manager and Oracle Cloud Infrastructure does that for you in 3 or 4 steps. So that's the level of automation we're talking about. Now, one of the questions that customers think of when we talk about automation is, does that mean that we're going to have to let staff go? Are we going to have to force attrition? No, not necessarily. Most customers that we talk to have a ever-growing backlog of projects that they've never been able to get to because their resources are so stretched thin on just supporting and running and maintaining on-prem applications. So think of how automation can free up some of their time to now do some more value-added stuff. So maybe harden your infrastructure, harden your security to provide more higher performing databases, for example. So all of those kinds of things can be taken care of. So lastly, run, maintain, and support. So once your workloads are on cloud, you want to be able to manage them effectively. There are lots of tools that cloud providers give you to do that. And there are some add-on tools that we like implementing, like Oracle Management Cloud is an excellent example. It's a single pane of glass type application that can monitor and alert you on all of your infrastructure and many application workloads, not just in the cloud, but also on-prem. So we have cloud managed services that can help you with all of that. So that's a brief overview of a journey to cloud, how you can prepare for cloud, and what are some of the business drivers that you can think of that can help you make the case to cloud. So now I want to move forward and talk about some solutions, right? So rather than trying to tell you what cloud infrastructure is or what platform is, I'm sure you guys have heard that many times at conferences from Oracle presenters and on YouTube videos and so on. And by now, this is not a big secret. Everybody knows what cloud infrastructure is. And if you don't, happy to have a conversation with you. But I'm going to skip past that and talk about some solutions, because what we want to drive is a solution that encapsulates cloud infrastructure but gives you business value through your application usage on cloud. So the first solution that we want to talk to you about is, can you use cloud as a solution for dev, test, and upgrade, right? So think about this. What if every upgrade that you did, whether it was a major version upgrade, whether it was a tools upgrade, whether it was just a patch fix or a set of patches that you wanted to apply, whether it was just the quarterly cumulative patch update, security patches and all of that, what if you had the ability to speed up all of those upgrade and update and maintenance processes and at the same time reduce costs? That would be brilliant, wouldn't it? So here's an example of how you could do that. So all you need to do is migrate some of your non-production instances. This does not call for production migration just yet. Migrate some of your non-production instances to cloud. So there's some automation capabilities there. You can use lift and shift using PeopleSoft Cloud Manager. JDE has a tool for that. EBS has a similar tool for that. You can deploy the latest versions. Again, automated deployment using Cloud Manager from the marketplace. Pull the latest version in, 2 or 3 clicks, boom, instance deployed. Just sit back for an hour or so. You'll get the link and you can log in and start using it. Apply the patch automatically. It can understand, these tools are smart enough where they can understand what patch level your current dev instance is at, and it can give you all the available patches to get you current, and you just have to choose them and apply them. So a lot of automation capability there. Now here comes the really interesting part. Customers have gotten really good at some of these processes on-prem, downloading the new software, applying it, and going through the checklist. Where customers always struggle is in testing that update. What if cloud could give you the automation capability to run a battery of tests every time you applied an update? In PeopleSoft, it's PeopleSoft Test Framework. So imagine you had a library of PeopleSoft tests that was tailored to your instance, and every time you applied a PUM update, the first thing you would do is run that entire battery of tests, get some impact analysis, what works, what doesn't. So immediately you know where you need to focus your team's time and effort and how you can be successful in the rest of the project. And then anything that you put on cloud, you should be able to monitor and support it with a lot of automation capability. Here we're talking about Oracle Management Cloud. That's just one of the tools, but there are many others available. So excellent use case, proven to be successful with multiple customers on cloud, not just one or two. And this is a growing demand where customers can truly use cloud as an extension of their on-prem network. I repeat, cloud can be an extension of your on-prem network, not necessarily a replacement, because this is a gradual change. This is your first destination on cloud, and you can start taking advantage of cloud that way. So here's something that we want to offer as an exclusive for people on this webinar. You're taking your time to listen to us. You've heard our story so far. If you want to do a dev test or upgrade on cloud, our offer is that we will move your PeopleSoft application to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure for free if you decide to use Oracle Cloud Infrastructure for your 9.2 upgrade, your PUM update project, your tools upgrade project, any combination of these. You may do a 9.2 upgrade with the latest PUM and the latest tools. Excellent, let's do that. But if you decide to do that and we are your chosen partner, the migration of your application from on-prem to cloud is on us, right? So that's an excellent offer. If you wish to talk to us about that in detail, feel free to contact us offline or ask us questions during the Q&A section of today's webinar. Happy to share that with you. The second solution that we want to talk about is automated testing. As I mentioned, testing is really a huge pain point. Large, medium, and small-sized customers all alike, some of them have gone down the path of trying to implement a large automated testing solution like HP ALM, and it's been too expensive, too time-consuming, very difficult to maintain, and they've just not been successful, or they've just dropped the idea of doing that. But the testing burden does not go away, does it? Every time you do something to PeopleSoft or EBS or JDE, you still have to test it. So our solution is deploy the latest image on cloud, apply your patch or fix, or it can be an enhancement project, it can be a new module rollout. Test it right there on cloud using automated testing. So test it right there on cloud, and then take advantage of all the tools and capabilities that are available. So the offer that we have for this particular solution is, if you decide to do this, then the PeopleSoft test framework, the setup of that, and Astute's proprietary fastest solution, market-leading solution for PeopleSoft automated testing, that is available for you for free with our vast library of pre-built automated end-to-end tests. Again, if you decide to put dev tests on cloud, do an upgrade on cloud, on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. And the last solution I wanted to share with you was, why not get away from managing and supporting and doing the run maintain of your applications altogether? Why not leverage a managed services solution that not only takes care of putting your applications on cloud, but also doing the regular support and maintenance activities that you need to do to keep current with these applications? So a complete SLA-based, automation-driven solution that can help you apply a PUM update once a year with quarterly bundles or patches and fixes, a tools upgrade once a year with patches every quarter, on-demand patching and fixing, a help desk for all of your support needs, taking care of cloud infrastructure, platform, and PeopleSoft technical support services. A lot of flexibility here, so we can take care of all cloud infrastructure and platform and maybe provide support up to and including the PeopleSoft administration layer or EBS administration layer, and your teams can continue to do technical and functional support above that. If you want us to extend further and give you more technical support or some functional support, we have a lot of flexibility in this solution to give you those kinds of things. Again, if you decide to do this, we will move your PeopleSoft applications to cloud at no cost to you when you decide to sign up with us for a long-term managed services contract. Our contract terms are minimum 3 years, but I can provide more details on all of these as we move along. So in the interest of time.
So let me ask a quick question there, Arvind. So if you go back just one slide. So, I know you've put together these ideas of solutions, and oftentimes, people forget that when you're talking about a solution, you're actually talking about an outcome that you're trying to achieve, regardless of what's under the covers and whatnot. So these seem to be cases where, the cloud isn't the critical part of the solution itself, but it's not, the solution. I mean, there's something else that they're trying to solve. And do you see that's the power of the cloud, that it just becomes part of a bigger solution, not an end in itself, that helps you get tasks done or things more efficient? In this case, like testing.
Yeah, that's a good question. So customers, I think, struggle with cloud because they find that they're having to make decisions on infrastructure and platform, but then they feel that their application pains don't go away, right? Their maintenance overheads don't go away, or they don't reduce. So that's why we believe that solutions with defined outcomes or measurable outcomes, let's call it that, are going to be more valuable for customers, because now the move to cloud is not just to put infrastructure on cloud, but the move to cloud is to drive automation, to reduce costs, to compress timelines, and to give the customer something back, something that they can take to the business saying, hey, because I did this on cloud, now I see this value. I told you I'll deliver an upgrade in 24 weeks. I have high levels of assurance that I can do this in 24 weeks, right? So there's a lot more confidence and a lot more capability that customers get when they do that in the context of cloud.
Yeah, and when I talk to customers, I always encourage them to look at your current processes, because right now, every work is all metrics driven. Bosses are asking about numbers, justifying what you do and how efficient you've done it. So it's really important to look at your current state and how much is it costing you in terms of people and time, and then calculate the benefits of that, and then be able to produce those metrics, for your boss and your organization.
Absolutely. I think that brings up another important point, is cloud gives you an extreme level of granularity in the way you can measure what you're doing on cloud. So infrastructure, data flows, what you do at the network level, who's accessing what, you can see everything, right? So it's not like a big black box where you said, I bought a few servers a few years ago, I have no idea whether I'm using all of it, how many instances are lying around that I can get rid of. Customers many times are not optimized on-prem, whereas cloud forces you in a way to be more optimal as part of that process.
And that's the analytics and business intelligence discussion.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on now. And so I gave you some examples of solutions, and Fal and I spoke about how these can drive outcomes. But now I want to share some examples with you. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I spoke about warriors. So my Star Wars thing is boldly go where others have gone before. And there are some concrete examples. Today, I'm going to talk to you specifically about PeopleSoft examples, but if you have questions about other applications, please contact us. Happy to share more information with you.
Yeah, and to that point, sorry, Arvind, if you have questions, submit it in the chat window. We're monitoring those, and we'll get to those after the discussion.
Brilliant. So let's talk about some case studies here. So the first one that I want to talk to you about, as a matter of fact, this customer did their hard go live just last night on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. University of Santiago, Chile. Yeah, I mean, what a story, man. These guys, a failed Campus Solutions 9.0 implementation on-prem. They came and spoke to us 2 years ago at a Latin America Higher Ed User Group Conference in Guadalajara, Mexico, and they were a little lost. They were running out of options. They wanted to know if we could help them by sending them some talent from here to help them re-implement. And they were considering re-implementing on 9.0 because there was no talent available for 9.2. And we were able to steer them in the direction of cloud. And we said, at least let's alleviate the infrastructure and platform pains and get you up and running with an implementation instance. And it was literally a matter of days from them asking us to provisioning it and getting all the contracts in place. And they started with a very small scope. They said, we're going to try this for 3 months. They did not make the commitment to go production on cloud just yet. The first 3 months, extremely successful. They went very rapidly with their implementation phases. They were able to upload data. They were able to use multi-language pack. They were able to use database cloud service capabilities for automated backup. Long story short, they had predicted a 6-month phase 1 go live. They accomplished it exactly in 6 months. So in January of this year, they did a soft go live. And just yesterday, they released a system. They're in South America, so this is now fall enrollment for them. So they released a system, huge success. No on-prem hardware whatsoever, no connectivity issues. All they were doing was logging in and using the application. So they could still customize the application. They could still secure the application using all the layers of security from app to database and down. And more importantly, they were able to deliver an outcome that was missing for all these years. So based on this success, now they're moving forward with bringing their on-prem HR and financials applications for 9.2 upgrade and some re-implementation work starting in the next couple of months. So huge success story, and now this is going to serve as a model for many other campuses in Latin America to follow upgrades and implementations on cloud.
Yeah, and you know what bums me out is we didn't get a trip down there.
I know, right? Yeah.
So from a partner perspective, that actually helps bring down the cost as well. Here is a North American partner working, cross-border in South America. We're able to deploy this without all the travel and expenses and people on site.
Truly global, truly international. The world is indeed flat. We didn't have to make a trip on-prem to Santiago, Chile to help them with this implementation. Everything was communicated in standard language across the borders, and we were able to get this done. So big win for University of Santiago, Chile. So the next one we want to talk about, an early adopter, as a matter of fact, on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure is EasyCorp, about an $800 million company, publicly traded, headquartered in Austin, Texas. They run payday loan stores and pawn shops in Canada, US, and Mexico. Now, this customer is an interesting story because not only did they migrate their PeopleSoft applications to cloud, but they decided to migrate their entire data center to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Now, as I said in the beginning, although they made that strategic decision to move their entire data center, they still defined their journey and the destinations along the way. So PeopleSoft applications were one of the first to go, but before that, they moved some infrastructure and storage out there. Very good, successful outcome for PeopleSoft production as well as non-production on 9.2 with failover capability and disaster recovery. And as part of this process, we were able to eliminate a lot of wastage, a lot of unused capacity on-prem, and right-size them for cloud infrastructure. So that was a big outcome for them. And then new deployments were entirely automated, cloning was implemented, and they have a DR solution between two cloud data centers on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Very good success story. This customer, EasyCorp, actually spoke at Open World last year, for those of you who had a chance to attend Open World. Coppin State University, another excellent example of a customer that wanted to take some baby steps with PeopleSoft on cloud. Now, they already were on cloud. They were running Office 365 and some other Microsoft applications on Azure. They were doing a small footprint of custom app dev on AWS, but they chose to put PeopleSoft on Oracle Cloud. The Oracle on Oracle Cloud, that message really resonated. The value came through in our conversations with them. And this is an example of a solution that met their need, not just infrastructure. They didn't come to cloud just because they could put a few VMs on cloud. What they wanted to do was they wanted to accelerate their upgrade, they wanted to automate testing, and they wanted to get an outcome within that 6-month window that they had planned for this project. Very successful, referenceable customer. The CIO and director of IT and the entire team is extremely happy. And now we're talking to them about how we can help them bring other PeopleSoft applications onto cloud. So they're going to tackle a Campus Solutions 9.2 upgrade next. And Financials is already on 9.2, but they're going to start applying a PUM update. So all of those good things are going to happen. And now they've proven that cloud is going to work for them. Now, interesting thing to note here is they are only using cloud for dev test and for upgrade projects. Production is still on-prem. So you don't have to make this decision up front to move everything or nothing. You can do it as it suits your need.
And so, to that point, I would just highlight quickly, that's why the cloud actually drives a different relationship between the client and the partner.
Yeah.
In the sense that, you're there to advise on how you could expand and things like that. And so that relationship, I think, is really important that you normally don't have.
Yeah. So I see some questions coming in. So maybe now would be a good time, before we conclude, to take some questions, Val. So okay. Do we want to start reading out some questions so that we could do that? Let me go back to my WebEx window here and see. So I have one from Mike, and Mike's question is, we are in Financials 9.2. Could we do expenses in the cloud and integrate it with our on-prem financial suite of products? Absolutely. You don't have to worry about network latency or integration. All of these are supported, and you can secure it. So you can just do a expense implementation, expense module implementation, and go live with that on cloud if that's the path you want to choose. And then you could integrate that back to on-prem applications and all of your third-party providers. So for example, if you have credit card providers who want to integrate with your expense applications and they can supply transactions into your wallet, you can do all of those with cloud. So cloud can truly be an extension of your on-prem network. And over a period of time, if you want to then start migrating dev tests or put backups on cloud, you have those options as well. So that was that question. And do we have any more? Okay, so I'll wait for more questions to come through from the audience, and in the meantime, I'll continue. So what I wanted to talk about next was you saw examples of 3 customers who've taken advantage of cloud for different purposes and different reasons, and all of them have had successful outcomes. I can tell you from a partner perspective that this was not a bed of roses. This was not smooth sailing all along the ways, and that is something that you should anticipate. Just like an on-prem project, things could go wrong. Things could go wrong with planning. Things could go wrong with software. Things could go wrong with the way you execute the project. Resources may not be available. So those challenges are still there, and you have to plan and mitigate those risks. But taking advantage of the automation capability that you get out of cloud helps you alleviate or offset some of those things. So now how do we conclude this before we open it up for a full Q&A? So let's take a deep breath and dive in. There's things that you could do with cloud right away. The first thing is try it. Do a proof of concept. 2 to 4 weeks, defined use cases, realistic outcomes. Don't go for something extraordinary that you think is going to be extremely hard to accomplish with your first effort on cloud. Try the most common use cases that come out of your own operational side of the business and the way you run and maintain your applications. Try those out in a POC on cloud. Oracle gives you trial credits. We can double your trial credits. So if you go to cloud.oracle.com and you say try for free, Oracle gives you $300 worth of credits that you can use over a 30-day period. Our offer to customers is we will double those credits and we will help you deploy an instance on cloud by working with your teams remotely. So there are many ways to try that out. You can do use cases for dev test, for upgrade, for integration, a lot of different things. If you want to buy, it's very simple. The process is go online and start calculating your cloud's needs, size up your environments, and then swipe a credit card and you're off to the races. You will need some help from a partner to do the right sizing. Oracle has a team of solution architects who can help you as well, and we are there to help you as well in that process. The last one is start using it. So once you have your cloud, go ahead and start deploying your first set of workloads on cloud and start optimizing it, do the integrations, do the testing, and make sure everything works fine, and then incrementally deliver business value through cloud. So that's some of the ways in which you can get started and be successful. And we are here as a partner to share our experiences with you. There are folks from Oracle who are on the call today who are listening in, and they are available to come in and talk to you. And obviously you have events, like Fal mentioned in the beginning. Alliance is coming up at the end of this month. I know many of you on today's webinar are from the higher ed and state and local communities. So we will be there, and if you'd like to have a detailed discussion on some next steps, or if you'd like to take us up on any of the offers that we presented today, feel free to stop by and talk to us. We are at booth 538 at Alliance.
I think a question came in.
Okay, so there's a question. Sorry, let me pick that one up. So the question is, what are some of the challenges associated with a heavily modified PeopleSoft Financials 9.2 system? Customization is top of mind to customers when they think about migrating that application, not just to cloud. Even if you're moving a database from one server to the other, you are worried about that. So as you know, PeopleSoft is heavily reliant on metadata to store and manage customization. So, and all of that metadata is within your database. You may have some reporting customizations, you may have some integrations. Those have to be addressed as well. But by and large, when you move your PeopleSoft application, the database and all the other pieces of the PeopleSoft stack, all of your customizations come over intact from on-prem to cloud. You have the same level of access, or you should have the same level of access to get into your development environments and make further modifications or manage those customizations fully supported. So you can get into a remote desktop, you can spin up App Designer and make further changes. So all of those things are fully supported.
And this idea of customizations is usually the biggest barrier when people think of the cloud, because they're thinking, let's say, a SaaS or something like that. So if you rip and replace and go SaaS, what are you going to do with your customizations? And so usually people just end up standing still, like a deer in the headlights. With this cloud infrastructure, you could actually extend the investments you've made in your customizations, the work you've done, and your investments in your application, and still make a move to the cloud as a step towards that ultimate SaaS that you might be thinking about.
That's an excellent point, Fal. I think it's important to distinguish that everything that we've been focusing on today is related to cloud infrastructure and platform services and not to software as a service like Fusion Cloud, HCM, ERP Cloud, and so on and so forth. So your applications would work exactly the same as they do on-prem. They would integrate exactly the same as they do on-prem. Customers that I gave you examples of, they're still carrying over DB links into the cloud. So you want to do all of those things. You want to do secure FTP transfers to your partners. All of those things are supported. The next question is, does the cloud version allow for a direct API connection? Could front-end forms be developed with tools other than people tools? Absolutely. So this is not a new capability that the cloud delivers per se. So you have capabilities in the latest tools versions where you have APIs, you can use REST-based APIs, you can develop your own web services, and you can expose elements in PeopleSoft to the outside world, and they can consume that. So you can have standardized integration. You can have a front end using a forms application that is not people tools based, and you can still integrate that into PeopleSoft. That's one of the examples I was giving you earlier about Process Cloud. Process Cloud on Oracle Platform Service gives you the ability to create, drag and drop, and use a online modeling tool to put together or stitch together a process flow, and then you can incorporate an integration point to PeopleSoft from there as well if you want. But you have other options outside of that. Comment from Matthew, they can do so much more with configuration now and eliminate or isolate customizations. Excellent comment, Matthew. Thank you for that. I was at the PeopleSoft Partner Summit yesterday, and there was a huge emphasis on event mapping. And for those PeopleSoft customers who haven't heard of this or are not yet taking advantage of this, please reach out to us. Please talk to us. We'd be happy to help you, because as part of any upgrade or update project, you must be thinking about moving at least some of your customizations away from those invasive types of customizations that you have into event mapping to reduce the impact of customizations. But to Matthew's point, a lot of the features now, like workflow, like notifications, related content, everything is driven by configuration more and more with every new PUM update. So there are genuine opportunities for customers to take a look at all of that and reduce your level of customization. We can certainly help you with that, and that will mean lesser maintenance headaches as you go on for future updates and upgrades and so on. Well, thank you guys. Those are wonderful questions, and if you have more questions, happy to hang around for a few more minutes. But I wanted to share with you in the meantime some information about Astute Business Solutions and some of our success stories. As I mentioned, I was at the PeopleSoft Partner Summit along with some of my team members yesterday in Redwood Shores and the day before, and I was super thrilled to see that our success stories had been linked to the PeopleSoft Innovator site through PeopleSoftInfo.com. So for those of you who haven't seen this yet, if you go to PeopleSoftInfo.com and you click on Customer Success Stories, and below that now there's a link for Partner Success Stories and Cloud Success Stories, you can easily access some of Astute's recent successes on migrations to cloud. You can see the ones highlighted there. Astute moving workloads from AWS to Oracle Public Cloud, or what is now called OCI. And then University of Santiago, Chile, I put that slide up in our case study section. So very excited, and we're going to have a few more successes coming up very quickly. We're doing a financials upgrade for a global nonprofit on cloud, and they're going to go live on cloud. So that's going to be available in the next couple of months. So lots of interesting and exciting use cases that are coming out of this, and lots of real-world customer experiences that we can share with you.
Yeah, and the best part is that cartoon paperboy looks just like yours.
Yeah, right. Extra. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to share with you today was some examples of videos. So you've heard me speak over the phone, and that's my pretty mug over there on the top right corner of the screen.
My screen didn't refresh. Is there a...
Oh, it did not? Okay. Well, I hope all of you can see it. The slide is called Cloud Customer Success.
Can you go back?
And maybe I'll go back and forth there. So these are links that we will share with you after today's webinar as well. So in case you don't see it, these are videos on our YouTube channel. There are some that are on oracle.com, customer successes. So there's a lot of good value there and good information on how these journeys took place, what were some of the benefits coming out of that, and how customers can take advantage of it. With that, Sal, I think we should conclude. I don't see any more questions, but for those of you who, again, if you're coming to Collaborate or Alliance First, end of this month, Collaborate in April, and then we will also be at Reconnect and Open World. So those of you who are planning to attend those conferences, please come and talk to us if you have any questions about what you heard today, or if you'd like more information about any of these success stories, or if you'd like help in just getting in touch with the folks at Oracle, the PeopleSoft team, the cloud team, happy to get you introduced.
Can you go back to the first slide that has our contact information that people could...
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll just,
let me get out of presentation mode. And
so if anybody has any questions or want to get in touch with us, just email us at cloud@beastute.com. That's beastute.com, as it says there. You can visit our website and also call us at that phone number, 925-924-1402. And happy to answer questions, set up a meeting, set up a reference call. And if you're a part of the Oracle organization and want to talk about how to begin this conversation with your customers and talk at the level where customers find relevant, like their applications and whatnot, we're happy to work with you on that as well.
One of the things that we didn't have a chance to touch upon, maybe this is a topic for another day, is a cloud reference architecture. So what we have done through our experience is we have defined reference architectures for Oracle applications on cloud. What should the reference architecture look like? At a minimum, you need to have these building blocks so that you can build a robust, scalable, and secure deployment on cloud. So if you're interested in knowing what that looks like, again, please use this contact information and contact us, and we'll be happy to share some information with you.
All right, great. Well, thanks, everyone. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the content and the format. We'll be doing a lot more of these on a regular basis, and looking forward to having all of you follow us on that as well. And with that, we'll call it a day.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.